Okay, so I think we're going to get this going here momentarily. Wanted to give it at least a bit of like a 20-second delay before I started talking. Looking back at yesterday, I thought I had given what was a sufficient amount of time, and clearly I was not timing it properly. So, again, part of the learning curve for me. Still brand new at this whole Twitch thing from a streaming standpoint. Go ahead and actually load it up. All right, so in the last show, Goldberg defeated Kenny Omega to become the new AEW Heavyweight Champion. Cedric, in the other championship match on the show, successfully defended the Junior Heavyweight Championship against Pac. I'm still on the hunt for junior heavyweights that are willing to come work for me, just because between my company and others that have junior heavyweight belts, seems like it's advantageous to have them on your roster. So for this show, thinking it's going to be Goldberg against Ambrose. Likely going to be the main event, but I'll go ahead and do the repair. The monthly VIG for some of these is starting to become more than just a negligible amount of money. I'll come back to the merch when I decide for sure on what I'm going to do for the show. If I'm going to go for another 4,000 or 40,000, maybe try for 50,000, or maybe increase the ticket price, go $20. And if I do that, I can be more conservative on the merch. I am glad that it lets you go back and work on the merch before you start the show, but after you finalize the card, because that locks in a lot of stuff. Contracts, still have Burning Hammer. We'll have them through the end of the year. In fact, all of our contracts, we had two-year contracts with Jumbo Mart and the 1-minute parking gimmick. Broadcast contract runs out in 3 months, so that's going to be kind of like the 3.5 years into the game mark, where it's gonna, I'm assuming, going to allow me to move to a better network, more money, trying to find a good network like the real life AEW. Although I think they've got a plan in place. I don't know anything. I have no inside info, but I don't think they would be doing all these things if they didn't have a pretty good feeling on what they were going to do. But we'll see. As always in media, until the deal is officially announced and everything's signed, things can get sideways, as it were. The shows I recorded last night, I didn't use I think it's the noise suppressor is what it was called, and the audio, not in the volume mixer, but there's, point being, I'm still trying to get this figured out, what's going to sound the best, but it seemed like it Made me sound more like a person, less like somebody on Skype. I don't know, I still think I sound a bit nasally, but I can't complain too much. This is a $25 headset off of Amazon that I've been happy with so far. I mean, I wish I could hear myself. I can't do that without it being on a delay, and that would absolutely drive me crazy. My first show or two with audio ended up being really bad because I kept hearing myself on a delay, and just it's very distracting. Alright, so our scouts, with the exception of Brian Pillman, who opted not to sign a contract, they haven't come through for me yet. I could go for freestyle, and that's the one category that doesn't have like a company associated with it. I'm take that back. No, that's the one that I can't put on like just a freestyle match on my show. That's more like UWFI. That's the, either shoot fighting or the work shoots of the UWFI of the mid 1990s in Japan. And if you've never seen any of that, it's worth looking it up. It's pretty brutal at times, but if you like your wrestling on the laid it in their snug side, those guys delivered in spades. And that was in an era of All Japan Pro Wrestling. All those wonderful but insane matches. Strong style. So I will go freestyle. Takahiro. We'll go America. I don't know if it's easier for me to recruit from within my own geographical area. I'm not sure how that works. We'll see what you can find in 3 months there. Yeah, that's definitely a move. The whole make offer thing, I don't understand that. If that's just like a weird translation thing, or if it's like I have to, they'll decline my offer because they don't want to spend 3 months in America trying to find some freestyler. Okay. Lucha and Hardcore. We'll try again. Okay, like they have preferred territory, so maybe if I told him to go to Europe, he would say no. Yeah, Mr. Question. We don't. I've been presuming America with Mr. Question. Maybe that's just kind of switch it up a little bit. Not sure if there are any Kings Road guys in Europe. I don't know the full list of free agents. I didn't make a list when I started the game, because once you start the game, it's locked in. But not all the free agents show up in the actual free agent list. And that added a lot of depth to it when I realized that. And that made me realize the scouts have actual value, because that's how, like, it brought Sting into the game for New Japan, and it brought Pillman in for me. He didn't sign, but at least got him to work a show, and he put over Cedric. Cedric Alexander has been steady. Been really well as my junior heavyweight champion. Okay, we'll try Mr. Question. It's like playing Clue. Mr. Question, Kings Road in Europe. Make the offer. I'll go with an offer here as well. I mean, it's hardly cost prohibitive. About $2,500 to find some fresh talent. Plus, if with the Lucha one, assuming I can get that wrestler to come on board with me, that's a junior heavyweight in all likelihood. They tend to feature more of the junior heavyweights. Not all, of course, but knowing who I put into the game, I brought in a lot of the younger guys, the high flyers, some of the guys that worked on the Fantastica Mania shows that are up on New Japan World. Some really good matches. And you got Dragon Lee's going to be taking on Ishimori at Madison Square Garden. As much as it's disappointing we didn't get a Omega versus Tanahashi main event for that, that match I think is going to tear the house down. It's going to be shades of Dynamite Kid versus the original Tiger Mask at MSG. When they were little guys brought into a big guy's territory with no build, and they came out there and just tore the house down. That's before my time, but I've seen the video and heard the stories. Ishimori is so talented. He's one that would be he's kind of like Kushida in that his size, he's just not that tall. It'd be tough to move him to the heavyweight side, and that weird, there's that wall between heavyweight and junior heavyweight, and that's just how it is in New Japan. I had to learn to accept that. That's the way they do it. I love their product, so I deal with things like the excessive ref bumps and say, well, okay, it's part of the show. I can put up with that to get these world-class matches on a regular basis. New Japan Cup coming up. Okada's the heavy favorite there. Okay, so we're going to send the scouts out. Contract time. Pillman's still out there. He turned me down the last time I tried him. I may let him drop for a couple of more months. His salary, he would be at that amount going above my highest guy. Although he's a junior heavyweight, which I need, and he's a star. He's an A, popularity-wise. Let him think about it for another month or two. I'm not sure how effective it would be to go back and try again so soon. Cough button is my friend. Really try to have an emphasis on finding junior heavyweights. Taichi turned me down. How humiliating. Show. Even on invite tries, Show is super talented too. I know he's doing the Roppongi 3K thing right now, but he's definitely worthy of being called a star of the future, if not already. But I think he'll have his time as on top as a junior heavyweight, and then maybe transition from that up to the heavyweight side. We'll see. I almost thought they were turning him heel when they had the confrontation with Bushi and Shingo, where they grabbed the belts. They were wearing black. I was like, uh-oh, it's like trying to look for wrestling foreshadowing. But then they were back in the anniversary show match, and I won't talk about it too much for anyone that's not seen it yet. I don't want to spoil things too much. Great main event, though. At least I thought so. Okay, Brittle I've been looking at, but again, his salary's up there. It would be above everybody else, and he's only a C popularity. So I have to keep waiting with him. Yeah, Marufuji, way too expensive. Nakamura, Tanahashi. Yeah, these guys just have to wait for their price to drop. Hikaru Sato. Freestyle. Let's see, 20,000. Got a couple of available spots still with the gym. Wow. That's where this game is stiff. You only get that one opportunity per month to sign somebody to a contract. T-Hawk's had some good matches with the other junior heavyweights, just having a very limited supply of them. Even with invites, it makes it difficult. And I can have junior heavyweights against heavyweights. It's certainly doable, but it's... I don't know. Requires some patience, if nothing else. So Gran Guerrero's out for the show. Cedric out as well. But he's had some great matches for me recently. No Yoshihashi, but I really have to dial back the jokes. Up to a B popularity. I mean, I guess he's the beneficiary of me having a hot product. Windham with that S popularity. Wasn't Cody wanting some more money? Well, he's still a B. He's been around since the beginning. And that's not too much more to have to bump him up. I haven't done much with Training Expedition, but this month I have a tag team tournament, as they put it, with WWE. And that's the team Elliot Cesaro and Braun Strowman. So when it says tournament, they don't actually hold a tournament. That's, I mean, it's not. That's where this is not a true sim, like a total extreme wrestling. Not like that, certainly, but definitely. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed playing it. Let's see. Okay, I already did that. We're gonna wait until I book the card. I'll look at the sponsorship stuff. So $7,000 a month from the regional network, and I'm expecting a major increase of cash. It's kind of gonna be like true to life as far as some of these TV deals that are either happening or rumored to be in the works. Okay, so we're going to loan to WWE. I will have to presume that, given them, I'm going to send Williams and Gordy over. See if they can go over there and steal away their heavyweight tag team championship. Okay, we're halfway home. So I guess I have to try now with Gordy as well, and they'll just have to figure it out. Huh. Well, I'm not going to let him just have Williams. This is a tag team tournament. Ooh, plans change. Well, let's see. I was going to have Walter versus Malenko. I actually wrote down a couple of ideas for the show here, so I'm not just trying to remember stuff off the top of my head. How about Walter? Okay. We'll go with a Texas connection. How about Cody Rhodes? Okay, Barry Windham's an S popularity. Be another Texas connection. Okay. How about Mike Awesome? I get the idea that maybe I can't send them more than one. I'm not sending Goldberg. Okay, well. So I guess there's no tag tournament, or they'll decide for a tag team partner for me, or I don't know. So I guess I also have Gordy in the mix for this show as well. Okay, so I have 13 wrestlers that are both healthy and will be present. Dr. Death is going to be working for WWE, so we'll see what happens over there. So, like, what if it's Steve Williams and somebody else from the WWE roster? Dr. Death and Cena. Or actually, Dr. Death and Lesnar. Look at that salary for Lesnar there, $34,000. WWE is at B popularity in this game, but they have a lot more money than I do. I'll try the invite route. I wonder if Pillman would work for me again. $12,000 for a one-shot. He passed him a contract opportunity before, but then I brought him in, had him face Cedric, and Cedric won. All right. So we got Pillman again. That puts us at 14. I'm gun shy now with these invites. So many of them no-showing and messing up cards. Maybe I'll do Pillman versus Pac. That'd be interesting. I'm going to do Goldberg versus Ambrose in the main event for the heavyweight championship. Might as well get started on that. This will be a 6-match show. Goldberg has been on a tear. Last month, he beat Kenny Omega to win the heavyweight championship. Before that, he beat Dr. Death. He beat Barry Windham. And outside of tag matches, beat Walter. But it's like his Achilles heel was Mike Awesome. Awesome beat him twice. Both meetings. But Awesome was out injured, and then he lost to Dr. Death. And he actually lost 3 in a row. Going back to the September match against Goldberg. All right, this is going to be a title match here as well. No. Okay. So you got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho as the heavyweight tag team champions. They won that from Ambrose and Pac on the February show. I've been planning to do Mike Awesome and Barry Windham, but I've got Gordy at my disposal as well. It's kind of a wash. Pillman is a strong, so I've got to account for him as well. The longer a wrestler is with my company, the more his style, his match style moves towards my company's match style, which is Kings Road. So there's a showman. I think I already did that one time with those two. It was a showman style match. There's Flyer. Flyer went over to Aero Lucha for a tournament. Finally learned what they meant by that. And he somehow came away with the Aero Lucha Heavyweight Championship. Don't ask me to explain it. If his popularity was an A, I would do him against Pillman. Because it's not. Granted, his poor condition is an A. Yeah, that's been my experience. Like, the longer a wrestler's on my roster, like maybe he comes in, he's Lucha. He stays like that for a while, and eventually he becomes Kings Road one day. It's like how WWE, when they bring in wrestlers to the Performance Center, they train them to work the WWE style. And they're very serious about that. So that's like a little nuance that's kind of cool they have in this game. Or at least that's been my perception of it. I mean, unless I'm off on that. That's how it seemed to be. Yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of fun. Fire Promoter, I've really enjoyed this. I mean, it's not without its flaws. Don't always like throw that out there as a precursor. Yeah, and I've got my scouts out there looking. I didn't realize there was any value to having the scouts. I didn't know there was like hidden free agents. But once I learned that, it's, changed things a bit. But yeah, it's most of the King's Road guys out there I've got. There are a couple. I think Hiroki Goto from New Japan is a King's Road that said no. And I don't know if actually offered Kitamura a contract, but he's also a King's Road guy sitting out there for not much money. I really should give that some consideration for the next time I got a contract opportunity. Alright, so here I'm going to go ahead and put in Omega and Jericho. Oh. Was that Johnny Impact, Johnny Mundo? That's not any good. I don't think New Japan in my game found Sting. Like when Fire Pro the night this went on sale, I got. I guess he's on the invisible free agent list now. That's like one of the Jacksons of the Young Bucks. I think. Well, okay, it's not on this screen. One of them was with like WWE or some other company, and the other's not even listed in the game at the moment. And I would have put them in AEW, but only had 6 spots. Okay, I was looking at that backward. Okay, so it's Omega and... Okay, that isn't there correctly, so... Trying to put Omega and Jericho, and they were already in there. So I need to get Mike Awesome. And... I may just stick with Awesome and Windham. But there'd be a... Gordy's there, too. I gotta have Windham in there as an S. So it's the higher popularity, so... We'll go with the 1986 babyface Windham look. I haven't had any companies go out of business yet, but I've only got 9. I went with the smallest one. Just trying to get the game going as quick as I could once it finally unlocked, this DLC. I typically don't book a wrestler on a show if they're in poor condition unless I've got a really good reason to. Guys still get hurt, but it tends to work out for me. I'm going to stick with my original plan and go with Awesome here. Which typically I would team up Gordy with Williams. That's what I was expecting to do. Because WWE having the supposed purported tag team tournament. And they took Steve Williams, and I offered enough guys in a row that they said no to. That it was clear they were just only going to take one. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. Yeah, I've got the ECW and New Japan Heavyweight Championships. Shane Douglas left ECW and he had their belt, so I brought him in with an invite. Ended up getting the belt from him. And then Shinsuke Nakamura, similarly, out of New Japan. And it doesn't say IWGP Heavyweight, because you can't change the name of the championships. Or at least, if you can, then I don't know how to. I don't think it's possible, though. Not without a mod. I don't know that one exists yet to do that. Okay. So got Gordy there's an A. And I think that's what I end up doing is, well, I got Pac. Oh, so Kenta got the title from Chikara, and then that title from Chikara ended up in Pride at FC. Oh, that's a tough one. It's funny to me how it keeps track of like how many titles you've got. That's like seems to be a big thing for them as far as the company comparisons. Being a belt collector. I haven't defended any of the championships that I've brought in that way. I've had them just here. Dean Malenko beat Nakamura. That was one of the few games I actually played as. And then after that, Malenko's just been jobbing out, losing over and over. Had the whole, petty and vindictive Booker type feel to it. Even though that wasn't my intent. I'm a big Malenko fan. Okay, so let's see. We were talking about, we have Pac. Again, it irks me I can't change it from his WWE name in here. I have him in the special match with Pillman. Sticking with the Flying Brian look. Circa 1991 WCW days. So only 2 championship matches on this show, the heavyweight, single, and tag. And junior heavyweight champion Cedric Alexander is finally down to poor condition. He's earned that. He had several shows with some really good matches. And he keeps winning, which helps. Curly mullet. What's that? Okay, so we're at 6 spots. Oh, okay, yeah, you're talking about Pillman, yeah. Yeah, definitely the mullet era. His haircut. Okay, it's good that I have 3 match slots left because I have 6 wrestlers left that I can use. Who are in a condition that are either normal or good. Got Walter as a B. We have Flyer as a B. Fresh off of that Aero Lucha tournament win. The 3rd championship that I ended up bringing in from another promotion. That's the first time I did it though. When I finally learned about how it works with the when it tells you that they're having a tournament. Yoshihashi getting up to a B. We got Malenko as a B. Oh, really? Nobody can beat Shamrock? He's got like one of those Okada runs. Long title reign. Kobashi, that GHC reign. Back in Noah. I saw the new logo for Pro Wrestling Noah. I know a lot of fans and traditionalists aren't happy about the change, that they're getting away from the green ring mat, but hoping the best for them. The more places that are successful, the better. You got some new ownership, and invariably you're going to have change that comes with that. Right, Gordy is an A, popularity-wise. It seems weird a bit. CIMA has all orange and yellow and red, that's shown as normal condition. Okay. T-Hawk. Gordy, of course. Malenko's a B. Yoshi-Hawk, oh, he's poor condition. I could do something crazy like Walter versus Flyer. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Sorry, Flyer. Although I skipped Gordy when I did that. And this is where the user interface leaves something to be desired. I've got to go through and just knock out Walter and Flyer from there. Then I have to go back to the list I was just in and then back to where I was before. Just to switch out and put in a Terry Gordy match. I mean, I don't know how much it even matters as far as card positioning relative to the way the match evaluation goes in this game. Gordy's he's been on his losing streak. Like once he lost the heavyweight championship to Kenny Omega, and losing a couple in a row. Omega got him in the rematch, and he lost to Barry Windham. And there's Malenko with the New Japan Heavyweight Championship belt. Yeah, okay, Gordy's in red, so that'll work. Okay, so Walter, I'll have him the first match for sure. I may do, yeah, that's where I'll put Walter and Flyer. So Seahawk end up in the opener. Taking on CIMA. Not the first or second time I've had this match before, but it's the way it worked out. A lot of my undercard guys are in poor condition. Just the way it worked out timing-wise. Okay. Now this being a 6-match show works to my disadvantage, it would seem. TV commercial that gets me to a full house, presuming that I don't have a no-show from Pillman. Yeah, no, you do have to be careful. I mean, I stay away from the poor listing. The red is a concern, but then it lists them as like... okay, is CIMA really normal? Like, Cody's in poor condition, so... Yeah, then there's Pac. but Pac's just going to have to work through it because he's got Pillman coming in. Invite. The other time I brought in they requested a booking no-show. I wish you could have guys on standby that you could plug in if somebody no-shows on you, like you would in real life. And again, this isn't a sim. This isn't a true simulation, so I get that it's a game. But it still would be nice if that were an option. Maybe what I'll do here is I'll have this, instead of King's Road, I'll have this be a strong match. Since that's Pillman's preferred style. Pac's pretty versatile. I think he'd be able to handle it. Go ahead and start from the top here. Making sure it's typically a 30-minute time limit for my early matches. Oh, that's a tough combo. If you got the no-show on, because I had that happen. I had one where like 2 or 3 guys no-showed on me. It was, they were saying full house and then fell apart, getting 75% house. It was kind of funny seeing the empty chairs, as a novelty the first time. The second time, the humor kind of worn off. So we'll go strong with that. These being singles matches, no brainer that they be. Now this I will go with. This is the semi-main. I go 45 minutes. I tend to go with that for the tag team championship. Main event. Goldberg against Ambrose. Goldberg and Ambrose have been here in the company for a while now. They've faced each other in tag matches, but never in a singles match. So their first ever singles match is going to be for the heavyweight championship that Goldberg won from Kenny Omega just last month. So here, that's why I'm double check these things. This will be a 60-minute time limit. It's funny when it carries over from one month to the next and what it doesn't. Like the time limit for a given slot, it tends to recognize that the next time. But the match style always defaults back to King's Road. So like next month when I play the May of year 3, that 4th match spot's going to be defaulted back to King's Road. Even though we'll remember the time limit if I change it. Not a big thing, but it's just one of the quirks I ran across. All right. So let's see what happens if I go price-wise. Print ad. I don't know. I like going the big spending and a full house. And if Pillman no-shows, and so be it. Take a hit, but we're above the $5 million mark asset-wise, so hope it won't happen, but only 6 matches. That's the way that worked out. So I think we're good. Okay, the merchandise. T-shirts, 10,000, and it took 2 months, and they all sold. I'm so glad there's a clickable cough button on the computer here within the OBS on the mixer, because the manual one connected to the, whether it connects my headset, the cord to my computer, makes this clicking noise when you turn it on and off. We'll go, well, yeah, we got 40,000, only $10 tickets, so maybe our fans will have a little bit extra cash to spend on our stuff. We'll go aggressive on that. Well, I almost don't know if that's a good idea, though, because it did take 2 months to sell 10,000 worth. Okay, I'll reel it in a bit. We'll see how it goes with 10,000, and if that works out well, then we'll reconsider next month. Yes, t-shirt. Towels, 5,000. We'll go conservative with that. We'll go 5,000 on the DVDs. Yeah, I still have these action figures sitting around. And some masks. On goods. Go 5,000 on the goods. Branded snacks, I always go with the lowest one on that because those are perishables. You can tell business is picking up when the expenses for a show like this is close to $700,000. The company value's up to $5 million, so that's a good thing. Okay. Actually, I'll take a look at the title belts real quick. So you got Goldberg. It's going to be defending against Ambrose. So you can tell Goldberg, a former champion. And then this isn't the most helpful thing. It says Kenny team, but it's Omega and Jericho. Alright, so we're booked. Everything's set. Hope Pillman shows up. Good. So we got Pillman, and we got a full house. I'll go ahead and lock that in. Got a frightened player on the weakest link trying to bank immediately. Alright, first match. T-Hawk and CIMA. If I have a chance to see that in real life, I'm sure it'd be great. But I've seen the computer version of it a couple of times already, so I'm going to skip this match. I'm also testing out how this simulation works on the first match of the show, because it was doing some weird stuff earlier. Like going 30 minutes, like where the time limit was 30 minutes, but then showing one side winning over the other. Although that was more a tag team match. That one worked out just fine. CIMA the winner over T-Hawk. And that set me up quite nicely to start the show with a 100% match evaluation. Now this one I will watch. Walter against Flyer. Walter's been in control early. Flyer goes over to Errol Lucha and wins their heavyweight championship. And my reward for him is a singles match against Walter. Flyer goes for a strike. And Walter's having none of it. Yeah, reward. Oh, he beat Shamrock. The Falcon Arrow, nice. Walter just flipping Flyer around to that clothesline. In my Fire Promoter game, Punk, I think, was one of those free agents I couldn't see. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but he ended up signing with WWE. Never say never. Rough landing there for Flyer. So did Shamrock have the championship for the entire time up until that point? If you're December year 2, then you're just a few months behind where I am. Wow, that's a long run. Oh no, Shimmer went bankrupt, huh?
2, 3.
I don't have nearly enough women's CAWs to be able to create an entire Fire Promoter game of it. That would be something.
10 minutes gone.
How many companies do you have in your save or in your game? Mine's just the 8-company version, with mine being the 9th. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. All women. Only 12. I swapped out all the default make-believe companies and wrestlers and put in the actual real ones. Still, I think running it with a larger volume of companies would be fun. Oh, 16, huh? That's what I'm at some point planning to do. Although I want to try to be patient because they're coming to all this new stuff at once. And I'm enjoying this right now. I'm just running the vanilla version without any mods. Let the dust settle a little bit. And then decide. I have to admit, I missed the Prince Pepperoni turnbuckle ad from the year 2 on here. They rotated out for me as far as sponsorship went. The Little Caesars knockoff. Look at Flyer. 15 minutes strong, and he's coming off the top rope back to back. You don't want to be in a position where Walter can measure it before he lays the heavy chop on you. Trying to beat Walter with a victory roll. Flyer's hanging in there. Oh yeah, and you gave Ronda Rousey went to AEW. Walter gets the win, but Flyer looks good. Crowd seemed to get into it there, especially by the end. And there we go, 99%. The Thunder Driver. It took a few times of Flyer getting dropped on his head for Walter to finally be able to secure the victory. So a good start to the show. Gordy against Malenko. Let's see how that turns out. Double checking something when this OBS, the streaming interface that has worked just remarkably well to connect, I guess by way of Steam or through the Steam app that I'm running here, obviously the Fire Pro, and connecting with Twitch. I'd anticipate it being a lot more difficult than it has. It's been very easy. I was checking the audio levels from last time because I was trying to get it to work with the microphone audio level and the video game audio level were where I wanted them to be, and it remembered it from last time, so that's a good thing. But Malenko has been struggling in this game. Ever since he won that New Japan. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad the levels sound good. That's been trying to get to that point. Worked in broadcasting for years, but never did the tech stuff as much as the on-air or the producing. And this is like a headset I got for less than $25 on Amazon, so I can't complain too much about it. Like he lost to CIMA. Oh, the Blue Yeti. I've heard good things about the Yeti. That's been happy with that. Yeah, Malenko lost to CIMA before they lost to T-Hawk. He lost to Jericho. He lost to Omega. He lost to Gordy. The match before that, in September of year 2, he beat Shinsuke Nakamura to win New Japan Pro Wrestling's Heavyweight Championship. This really does seem like a real-life pro wrestling rib. The guy that beat your champion gets jobbed out. I mean, it's just been the way the game simmed it. Brawling out there into the entrance.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
But when it comes to simming matches that I put on my YouTube channel, I've got a lot on there. There's kind of a hiatus from that for the moment, doing this fire promoter stuff anyway. I was having fun redesigning some of the arenas with the mods. But there's a lot that's a novelty to this. Like the make-believe sponsors they came up with, the parodies. But Malenko, though, my point being, though, is that Malenko would then just sets up the game for a random sim. He can get a good match out of a lot of people. Lucha style. Japanese strong style. Technical wrestler, but you also get power slammed by Gordy like that. Certainly get a lot of near falls out of Malenko matches in general. Gordy almost had it. Made it past the 15-minute mark, and that usually... Wow, this could be at the cloverleaf after the double underhook suplex. I was going to say a match that goes north of 15 minutes that's getting this kind of crowd reaction is usually a good sign.
1, 2, 3, 4,
That is one negative for me having Goldberg
6,
not only on my roster but as my heavyweight champion.
8, 9,
Like in the main event against Ambrose, his matches, for Goldberg's matches that is, they
13,
tend to not go all that long. The game doesn't reward you typically for shorter matches.
16,
This is going to be a count-out loss.
17.
I'm still sticking with the same referee. Got him early and the show started getting good. 'Cause he's not the fastest guy. They went a little longer generally. Although sometimes it's like he would quick count people. Yeah, I don't think this is like a real life referee. I think it's one like the pre-made ones. Malenko trying to get a submission out of Gordy. That's a long way to travel in the air to hit a flying knee drop. Small package. That's what I'm talking about, Malenko. Those near fall possibilities. Wow, Malenko gets the submission victory. Ankle lock. It went just shy of 20 minutes. Malenko breaks a long losing streak in Gordy. That one hurts. 97%. So the card continues to go strong in that department. And it's Malenko over Gordy. Here's a special attraction match. Pac against Pillman. Dream match. Now this is the one that I specified as a strong style match, because that's what Pillman prefers for his match style, and he turned down the contract offer. I had him come in now twice as an invite. I mean, to a degree, I took a chance using an invite here because I have a full house, but if he wouldn't have shown, I would have had to drop the match. It'd be a 5-match card, and it would have been a big hit to the wallet. So it's the second time in. He lost to Cedric Alexander. Would have loved to have made it a junior heavyweight championship match, but I wasn't going to risk that since I can't control the outcome unless I actually play the game. I don't typically do that. I didn't want Pillman to beat Cedric and walk out of the promotion with my belt. So here we go.
1.
My last show, Pac challenged Cedric Alexander for the AEW Junior Heavyweight Championship, but Cedric retained. Cedric's been on a roll. Prior to that, a lot of tag team matches for Pac. Have him teamed up with Ambrose in this game. It's kind of by necessity early when they had 6, 7, 8 guys. Kind of make do. I teamed up Cody Rhodes with T-Hawk. Not even 6 minutes in, and that crowd's into this match. As a kid, the first wrestling I got into was WWF, right at the beginning of 1990. My younger brother Matt had a primetime wrestling turned on, and I guess it was like a Christmas show, so like the very end of 1989. And I always kind of like thought pro wrestling, all that, fake garbage, whatever. I don't have time for that. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was Monsoon and Heenan or something, it clicked. We got pulled in, like pro wrestling can do. It's that kind of almost difficult to explain, and just kind of a crazy business, but it's fascinating at the same time. But after WrestleMania 6, the product quality dropped a bit. You're still into it, but not like the very beginning. Like the 1990 Royal Rumble match. See, that thing holds up well, especially considering a lot of the matches from that era that don't particularly look as nice under a modern gaze. Oh yeah, Mike Tyson was a major factor. That was one of the best utilizations of a celebrity that any wrestling promotion's ever done, or ever had. Because that was a time when Sports Center, if they were talking about pro wrestling, they were going to make fun of it. But you had Tyson in there, and they had their fun with it still. I mean, it's entertainment and sports. I mean, that's what ESPN moniker stands for anyway. Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. That was the original name. Yeah, that product got real hot around that time. I was around when I was in college. My senior year of college, my brother and I went up to, my buddy Brooke was at Princeton University, Princeton, New Jersey. I went there and stayed with him for the weekend, and we borrowed a friend of his van. And I don't know if I don't remember the details enough to, like, if I just went up there thinking we were just going to pull it off somehow, because I had tickets that I had lined up that I thought was somebody I could trust, ended up not being the case. We didn't have tickets. I didn't realize scalping was, I guess, maybe illegal there at the time. I don't know. So I was like trying to find somebody to buy tickets from. We got there to the arena in a van we borrowed, and it just had cash on me. It was one of those, they couldn't take what I didn't have, so they took about all the cash I had for the tickets, but they worked. They got us inside. And while WrestleMania 15 is no critic's choice from a match standpoint, the atmosphere in Philly, that's the only time they ever had WrestleMania in Philadelphia. And it's the only time I've seen a wrestling show there either. For the win. And Pac gets it. And that was a fun 13-minute match. But to finish the thought with, oh, you're in the hospital? Oh, wow. 86% for that match. But yeah, it was the first time that they had Rock vs. Austin at WrestleMania. And that was by far the best match on the show. I haven't had very good luck as far as WrestleManias that I've attended, as far as their critical acclaim. I've been to 5 of them. WrestleMania 15. Around that, right after that, I kind of like got out of wrestling for a while. Then WrestleMania 27 was in Atlanta, an easy drive from Nashville. And that was the one with The Miz versus Cena in the main event. They had a really good Triple H versus Undertaker match. And then with New Japan Pro Wrestling really getting me back into keeping track of everything in detail. I've been to the last 3 WrestleManias. I had fun in Dallas for 32. It was a long show, but I hadn't been to WrestleMania in a few years. My first time seeing some at AT&T Stadium. Then WrestleMania Orlando had the worst match of the year, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. We had those projections on the screen. It's awful, just ugh. And then last year in New Orleans, a very long show. And I'm not going this year. I wish everybody well that's going up there. Hopefully there'll be some great shows and some great matches. And hopefully for WrestleMania itself, it doesn't get too cold. I mean, it's a calculated risk running a show. And the New York market for the arena or a stadium the size they need, they have to go to the outdoor route. Going with East Rutherford, New Jersey. Oh, that's tough timing the day before. I had my tonsils removed when I was 6 years old. That's the only time I've ever been to the hospital as far as being a patient. So I know how it can be with having your tonsils removed. I've reached the semifinal match with Barry Windham and Mike Awesome taking on Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Seeing Omega makes me think of what New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to be doing in July when they have the G1 tournament in the United States, at least a leg of it for the first time ever. Opening night, American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Of course, Mark Cuban, ownership in Access TV. I think they're going to do the G1 this year like they traditionally do it, except for that first show. Because only we're doing the one show, and you think, well, would it make sense to at least do 2 different markets? But I think for the fly-ins, the fans, people like me that will fly to places. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting with that schedule for this year. And then next year with the Olympics in Tokyo, I don't know what to expect from that. But my guess is that opening night in Dallas, it's going to be like they used to do the G1, like in 2014, when it was every night was just a show full of G1 matches. They've definitely drawn out more time-wise. But the approach New Japan has had, with with the Road 2 shows, and then they'll have the New Beginning in, like, say, Sapporo, or the New Beginning in Nashville, like the show I went to last month.
Minutes gone. 1, 2, 3,
With the sound effects.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
But I thought it was a brilliant move by Access TV to work the deal with TV Asahi that originally got them New Japan in early 2015, when they had those great shows with Mauro Ranallo and Josh Barnett. Like their call of Okada versus Tanahashi from Wrestle Kingdom 7. I think that was the second or third. I think that's what it was. Pardon me if I'm not correct on that off the top of my head. That was originally only, I think it was only going to be a 12, 14 show run. It was not a long run that was lined up originally, but it's always been very successful for Access TV. And it just, I mean, you look at the expense involved in starting a viable major wrestling company. Just a colossal investment. Well, or you can take this existing company that's great, that translates pretty well, language aside. But New Japan certainly fit in well with the MMA programming. A lot of crossover fans, like the Wrestling Observer, where you've got pro wrestling news and mixed martial art news as well. I don't follow MMA nearly as closely, but from what I hear on the Observer radio shows and read there and elsewhere, I got some friends that are really into MMA. They're like my go-to for the Observer ballot voting. I'll figure out a short list of some of the best, and I'll confer with them, and pro wrestling stuff I know. So that works out. Yeah, the earlier G1s had fewer people. But Tanahashi's got this streak. I think Nagata may have the record for the most consecutive G1s. But Tanahashi it's incredible. You think about the beating he's taken through the years. And to still be working at a high level when needed. Through the first 2 years in this game, I mean, Jericho has been my biggest star, most successful. He won the heavyweight championship and had 6 consecutive successful defenses, by far the record to date. He's had, I think, maybe 3 reigns with it. He's one half of the heavyweight tag team champs at the moment, which is actually what's being defended here. I thought that might be it. I thought Mike Awesome had Jericho there. I love the way the crowd noise picked up right when that happened. It made you think, oh, this could help with the suspension of disbelief. It's one of the many underrated traits of this game. Windham was trying to keep Jericho from making the tag there. It's kind of surprised to see that Windham CAW be able to chase down the Jericho one that's based on New Japan Pro Wrestling version of Jericho. Yeah, that's the exact same game that got me hooked. Because I'd heard about Fire Pro, and it was the summer of 1996. I had Super Fire Pro Wrestling X Premium. I was able to mod my SNES, which, funny enough, I got the SNES in high school. I had Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis, One Winged Angel right here. Also makes a save. And a buddy of mine, who I guess was feeling generous, traded me his SNES for that Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat. So then I ended up getting the SNES. Managed to somehow make it where I was able to play the game. I don't exactly remember how I did it, but I was able to. So you certainly remember, like I do, the way it was with the menus written the Japanese language, or kanji or kanji, however it's pronounced. You just got to know what certain things stand for. You've got to create a wrestler if you want to have a created wrestler. And to me, that gave me a whole higher level of appreciation for the really talented creators that put stuff in the Steam Workshop. So I know how tough it was just with the rudimentary stuff. Oh yeah. I'm so glad that they created this game, that they created Fire Pro Wrestling World. I still played Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, the PlayStation 2 game, from time to time. I had the digital version on my PS3. I still have the disc version. And I still have my PS2 sitting around here for the rare times I want to play something from PS2 here, although I barely have time besides this for video games anymore anyway. But yeah, I was so thrilled that they're coming out with this, and that they finally put this mode in. They only had for that the one time with the Game Boy Advance game that I never played in the series, at the Management of the Ring mode. Another near fall. Sit out powerbomb by Mike Awesome. Nearly got it. And this is one fall, 45-minute time limit. That's going to do it. We have new tag team champions. Mike Awesome pinning Kenny Omega. Awesome and Windham. New tag champs in 2101. And rightly so, match evaluation 100%. Well, for a team I didn't decide on until the last second, Windham and Awesome got it done. Beat two of the most talented guys on this roster. All right, so to reset, the full house, 40,000. Average card rating through 5 of 6 matches, 96%. Main event, it's going to be Bill Goldberg with his first defense of this reign for him as a multi-time champion of the AEW Heavyweight Championship against Dean Ambrose. Just trying to figure out who he's going to have Goldberg go against. He's had this winning streak from Omega, who he beat last month for the championship, to Dr. Death Steve Williams, to Barry Windham, beat Walter, beat Omega again. Although the first time they wrestled, Omega beat Goldberg with the Okite Yaburi, the stolen finisher. And it was Omega hitting the jackhammer on Bill Goldberg and getting the win with it. And that should be a clip in my video section. I'm still learning how all of this works from a streaming and editing and uploading standpoint. So, okay, enough talk. Let's go to our main event. One fall, 60-minute time limit. Bill Goldberg defending the AEW Heavyweight Championship against Dean Ambrose. He'll probably revert to his John Moxley name when and if he ends up leaving WWE.
Right.
Oh, thank you for the follow, and thanks for checking in. It's fun chatting with you. I think I'm just going to do this 1 month here. I did 3 months of the game yesterday. And I didn't realize how much time that was going to end up eating up. I'm starting to lose my voice by the end. But thanks for the follow. Have a good night. Jericho losing the tag team championship tonight, I anticipate having him challenge the winner of this match. Jericho, he's had some tag matches as well. Obviously, he just had the one tonight. But from a singles match standpoint, Jericho's won, like going back to the start of year 2, from January through October of year 2. Yeah, Jericho, 8 victories and 1 loss. It's part of that long run he had as the AEW Heavyweight Champion. But then he lost to Dean Ambrose last week. It was kind of a pseudo #1 contender match. And normally I wouldn't put somebody on a losing streak like that into a championship opportunity spot, but he never has had a chance to have a return match for the heavyweight championship. He lost to Terry Gordy in November. It wasn't like he's the one that dropped the fall in the tag team match. Omega ended up doing the job. Company remains at a B-level popularity. At least coming into the show, Dirty Deeds. Just 6.5 minutes in. Coming into this show, I had Barry Windham, Dean Ambrose, Pac, Chris Jericho, and Kenny Omega as S's. Goldberg, if you can believe it, was an A, or is still an A. He is the champion, so I've got him in the main event spot. Most of my roster guys at this point are either A or B level. Kind of a 50-50 split. And I've got Zhao Yilong as my lone C level. But my popularity in the U.S. has been at B level for a little while, but I've been able to draw more and more fans And I'm thinking it's going to move up to A level soon, especially be having 5 wrestlers here with S ranking. And that nearly did it. Just 8.5 minutes in, a 2.9, and a dirty deeds from Ambrose, spamming the finisher. I have to get out of the habit of having my mouse run across the Fire Pro screen. I can pull up other screens while I'm watching this, but for whatever reason that mouse comes across, it tends to show up on the Twitch broadcast. Whereas I'm recording with my computer just with the my in-house recording for the stuff I did for the YouTube videos, I could move my mouse across with impunity. Fisherman suplex, but in the ropes. It cracks me up the slow 5 count when you got Ambrose, who should have a clean break, instead throwing about 35 punches, give or take. And that's a jackhammer to retain the heavyweight championship. $2.9. And the crowd comes alive. Spear by Goldberg. Another pinfall attempt. And again, Ambrose escapes. Goldberg gasping for air. Gonna try for the spear again. Ambrose's back elbow attempt was no good, but he manages to kick out. Goldberg went for the spear, the high elbow from Ambrose, useless. Wow! And we've got a new champion on an upset. Dean Ambrose gets Bill Goldberg to submit. At 92%, the match evaluation, 13:33, the match time. Finishing maneuver, heel hold. The winner and new AEW heavyweight champion, Dean Ambrose. Sorry, Goldberg. If nothing else, this was a show that the work rate fans, I imagine, enjoyed. Only one match under 92%. That'd be a fun match anyway. Just didn't get the full evaluation, the full 100% like some of these. So I've got Ambrose as the heavyweight champion. I think this is going to set up Jericho and Ambrose. Ambrose beat Jericho in March on the last show. And that's how Ambrose had this championship opportunity. But before that, Jericho had been on a tear. They had one other match that was in year one, in July of year one. Jericho beat Ambrose. So their career record in AEW in this game is 1-1. So, provided both guys are in at least normal condition health-wise, that is very likely to be the main event for May of year 3. Dean is in Dean Ambrose, not Dean Malenko. These short names are killing me. Of course, we also had an AEW Heavyweight Tag Team Championship change hands. Barry Windham and Mike Awesome. So we'll see how much it ends up boosting our popularity. So wow, the capacity, we could have had as many as just north of 45,000. 95, like to the 10th percentage-wise, 95.7%. So we'll see how much this ends up boosting our popularity if we'll remain at a B level or finally reach A level. Right now we're tied with WWE as far as popularity goes for the America listing. They're at a B, we're at a B. Styles and Owens win the WWE tag titles. I guess Steve Williams wasn't able to win that tournament. Blue, I've learned, is Yuji Nagata, Blue Justice. We've been pretty steady as far as the monthly intake money-wise. It's been coming in about $500,000, a $500,000 clip. There have been some variances, especially when the lounge was purchased and the upgrades were made. That puts us now at 5.5 million, give or take. So La Sombra goes to CMLL. Sombra, who I tried to sign to a contract, he had no interest in that. I brought him in with an invite. They came in, it went well, and then I tried a second. He beat Kenny Omega. That was the first show in January that I had. So he beat Omega, and then I tried to get him a second time, and he no-shows. And then I'll wait a while. I think, well, maybe because I know how to switch the matches and I can make it a lucha match or whatever, I'll make it work. And he no-showed a second time, so it doesn't exactly break my heart that he's now with CMLL, because that's one less name to have on the free agent list I'm not going to go for. The Network. Like this is 1999 ECW with TNN. The Network. Okay, that just bumps me up to from regional to national. I think I can handle the conditions. 1,000 people or more. Or is audience turnout? Okay, it's, yeah, live attendance. Okay. I'm not going to do it, but what would happen if I chose no? I'm not going to find out. Oh, Arn Anderson, huh? Yeah, I heard he just came on the open market recently. Arn Anderson, AEW? Mr. Question has not been a particularly effective scout for me. I guess you get what you pay for. It's the lowest on the pay scale for my scouts. Sounds like he's asking for a divorce on the grounds. How about revising salary amount? Okay, Walter. I like having you on the roster. Yeah, Goldberg wants more money too. Maybe a little sore about doing the job to Ambrose. Do I need to start writing these things down? I probably do. I mean, I can go back and watch the video later, but I mean, there's only so many hours in the day and so much time I can devote to this. All right. So I'll save it here, but I'm not done just yet. See how we're doing. Okay, we'll remain a B-level popularity, but it will take some time to keep on climbing up. It doesn't provide it in numeric form, so there's no way to tell if you're a high B or a low B. But again, you'll note that WWE with the same popularity in America that I have. I really should have made it strong for New Japan and King's Road for All Japan. Although it's more strong than anything. I had it as stoic. Although all things considered, with how the time I was able to finally get this downloadable content going on the Steam version to when I started this could have gone a lot worse, because once you lock it in, you lock it in. And as much as I was anxious to go ahead and play it, I wanted to play it where I knew I could enjoy it at least for a while before maybe relaunching the larger version with more companies. So I don't know what happened with Steve Williams in WWE last month. Take a look at the condition of these wrestlers of mine. Alright. I'll worry about the money later. For the renegotiations, it's really more for the next month anyway. And Walter was the third. That was what money, because I think it was somebody, Goldberg, and CIMA. So I'll make a little note here. Okay, so Goldberg will be resting on the next show, which is fine, as he dropped the title, so give him a month off and we'll bring him back and see how that goes. Now, Walter's popularity has moved up to an A. He was a good pickup for me. He's adapted quite well to the King's Road style. Heavy chops are not to be messed with, not to be trifled with. Gran Guerrero's had a pretty decent run. His stretch muffler submission hold proven to be a pretty effective flyer. Yes, of course his neck's going to be hurting after having to deal with Walter putting him in the chin lock, whatever it was. Made it uncomfortable for his neck in that match. So Flyer still holding on to the Aero Lucha Heavyweight Championship that he somehow won in a tournament in their company last month when I lent him to them. We'll have Cedric back on this show. May have him defend the Junior Heavyweight Championship. I'd love to sign another junior to an actual contract. Definitely looking to boost those ranks a bit. Windham at normal. Malenko at normal. Dr. Death, good. So I guess, I don't know if WWE actually used it or it's like real life WWE where they fly people in and then just don't use them because, you know, who needs planning? Might cost them now one half of the heavyweight tag team champions. Terry Gordy, who I'd hoped to have go over to WWE with Williams and pilfer their tag team titles, but WWE just wasn't having it. You got CIMA finally. This is quite the rise that CIMA has had. He was stuck for the longest time at a D popularity. I mean, it doesn't go any lower than D, so you can't tell just how far down the well he really is. Or anybody is when you look at that. Point being, it took a long time, then he finally moved up to a C, and then between the momentum my company has and him having some nice matches and whatever else the company or the game takes into account, become quite popular. So it says normal, but perhaps take caution with the booking. There you have Ambrose and S popularity and the new AEW heavyweight champion. After making Bill Goldberg submit to a heel hook or heel hold. You got Pac fresh off his win against Brian Pillman. You know, for me not being able to get Pillman to sign a contract, it's worked out well bringing him in twice and having my guys beat him twice. It would have been nice to be able to have Cedric defend against Pillman with the heavyweight or junior heavyweight title on the line, knowing who was going to win, but since I didn't take that chance. Jericho still holding on to that ECW heavyweight championship he got from Shane Douglas several months ago. And then Kenny Omega at S popularity. So guys are over. Their company would be at a B level, but definitely heading in the right direction. Most of the crew healthy, but perhaps most importantly, got Jericho, who's due a championship opportunity with the AEW heavyweight champion, who is now Dean Ambrose after Ambrose's win. As noted before, Ambrose beat Jericho in a singles match on the March Year 3 show. So just, if we're into early May here, for them it was 2 months ago. But after Jericho had won a bunch of matches in a row, had a long run as AEW heavyweight champion, never got a return match with Terry Gordy because Gordy lost the belt the next show. I think it's been really ping-ponging around as of late. So that's something to look forward to on that next show, which will be, I imagine, tomorrow. I'm finding late night is easier for me just because I don't have people texting me and extra work that comes up as much. Just my time where I'll sit back and write and just go into a zone, and before I know it, 3 hours have gone by. But I've been able to find some success working because I haven't gotten my phone blowing up at me every 5 minutes. Got Windham at normal condition, and Mike Awesome listed with a good condition. I imagine they'll be defending their newly won heavyweight tag team championship on the next show. We'll see if I'm able to sign anybody to a contract. If not, I'll figure things out from there. And I'm not going to do anything with the merch at the moment, but I'm going to take a look. Well, sold out of everything with the exception of the DVDs, which I think only did like 1,000. So that was clearly the right decision. Less than half sold. The t-shirts, bought in bulk, already sold the majority of them. 3,300 will probably sell out on this next show. So, this is quite the jump money-wise, isn't it? I'll go from making $7,000 a month from the regional sports. I know it's sports. The regional outlet. Moving now to national level. As long as I have an audience of 1,000 people or more, Maybe that does mean for the live shows. So I guess I can't try running a small show in a market where I've got a D rating just to try and boost that up or to test that out. Which is fine because I really didn't want to do that anyway. But that won't go into effect until the regional contract ends, and that's got 2 months to go. Not that I'm hurting for money in the game. $5.5 million. On the assets, although that's a long way from the top. See, there's me. B rating, 5.5 million in assets, and then WWE, 103 million in assets. 62 million plus for New Japan Pro Wrestling, CMLL, just under 36 million. All Japan at 21 million. ECW. If ECW could have somehow survived, it'd still be going today if they could have somehow kept it going. Alas, it's fun while it lasted, the original ECW. But in this game, they live, and it's at 7.7 million in assets. Although I have their championship heavyweight belts, and I'm not going to give it back to them. Not that I even could, that's the way this game is set up. AAA still trying to get toward hardcore where I set it versus Lucha. That way it's not two companies in Mexico that are both Lucha. At least there's some differentiation. Whereas Aero Lucha, yes, they've got the Lucha promotion style, but they're based in America. And then UWFI over in Japan, where I sent most of the shooters. Shoot wrestlers, MMA fighter types. So my top 3 scouts are still all out in the field. And for next time, I'll have to decide what these two are going to do. I mean, I sent Mr. Question to Europe. And I don't know if that was... I mean, it was considerably less expensive than the rest, but he's got question marks for you. It's Mr. You don't know. So... But that's to be worried about another time. As in tomorrow. Okay. Double check. Make sure everything's saved. That's going to do it for the April... So my voice starts to go. When the voice cracks, they get the sign to go home from the ref like it's the end of All In. But that's going to do it. April of year 3 and Fire Promoters in the books. Next time, we'll see how May of year 3 goes. Thanks for watching.